Hello everyone and welcome to my final presidential election video. I'm making a final video to gather my final thoughts before the election that is tomorrow. And so I'm going to show what states I've changed and who I think is going to win the election. And this will be my final prediction. And then after the results come in, whether we know tomorrow or not, I'm going to go over what results we know and what I think is going to kind of happen from there. So this is my final election prediction before the election, and so I hope you enjoy. Going west to east, I'm going to start with the state of Nevada. And Nevada, I'm moving to tilt Democrat because Donald Trump's Hispanic numbers in polls and approval have gotten a lot better in the last couple weeks, but I don't think it's going to be enough to put him over in Nevada. And so I do think Biden's going to very narrowly win Nevada, probably by 1.5 to 2 points. And so that's my final prediction for Nevada. In the state of Arizona, this is a pretty big flip. I'm making it tilt for Donald Trump. Pretty much this whole election cycle, I've had Nevada going to Joe Biden. But recently, polling from places like Trafalgar and just places in general have had it narrow, and some have him even ahead. And that goes hand in hand kind of with the uptick in Hispanic approval rating for Donald Trump. And so I do think he's very narrowly going to win Nevada. And I do think this is the last time Nevada is going to go Republican for a long time. But I do think Arizona is going to go Republican one last time, very narrowly, probably by less than 2 points. That's why I have it as tilt Republican. And this is very surprising to me because very recently I thought Arizona was pretty much a safe bet for Joe Biden. But I do think Donald Trump's eventually, or he is going to win it, especially because he's even up in the betting odds now, which is generally a good predictor of states like Arizona. I'm also moving Nebraska's 2nd district to tilt Republican because I do think Trump's going to worsen in the suburbs, but I don't think he's going to worsen enough to the point where he's going to lose Nebraska's 2nd district. I think he's probably going to win it very narrowly, probably by a point or less, but I do think he's going to hold on to Nebraska's 2nd district. I'm moving the state of Minnesota to tilt Joe Biden because poll numbers have had Trump kind of surging in the Midwest and even in Minnesota itself. And he's been improving up here in the Iron Range in Minnesota, but I think he's going to lose down here. And I think that's going to be enough to give Joe Biden the win in this election. But I think he's going to very narrowly lose it. Republicans were hoping that they could grab Minnesota, but this year is not the year. And so I do think Joe Biden is going to very narrowly win Minnesota. I'm moving the state of Iowa to likely Republican because of the aforementioned surge in the Midwest for Donald Trump. I think that he's going to win Iowa by probably around 7 points. And that Midwestern surge for Trump is going to, I think, make Iowa a likely state. And while I'm at it, I'm going to also change Ohio to also being a likely Republican state. These are states he won by 8 and 9 points respectively in 2016. I think he might worsen a little bit in Iowa and Ohio, but I do still think he's going to win them by a likely margin. I'm flipping the state of Wisconsin to Joe Biden because even in polls that have Trump ahead generally, he's losing the state of Wisconsin by a very tiny margin. But I do think he's still going to lose it. Wisconsin is a state that's generally gone very blue, and it was kind of a fluke that Donald Trump won it in 2016. And so I think Joe Biden's going to win it very narrowly, probably by a little over 1 point. But I do think this is going to be a flip from 2016. I think Joe Biden is going to win the state of Wisconsin. That being said, I'm flipping the state of Michigan to Donald Trump, making it a tilt Republican state because the Trafalgar Group has released multiple polls showing Trump having a consistent lead in Michigan. It's a very narrow lead, but it's a consistent lead. And they got his lead in Michigan right 4 years ago when no one else did. And so they have a good reputation, especially up here. And they have Trump ahead in Michigan. And other polls that even have him behind have narrowed in Michigan. And so I do think Donald Trump's going to win the state of Michigan very narrowly, probably by a little bit more than he won it in 2016, just because he won it so narrowly by like 1/4 of a percentage point in 2016. But I do think he is going to carry the state of Michigan, and this is a hold from 2016. I'm moving the state of Florida from tilt Republican to lean Republican because I think this also goes with Trump's increasing Hispanic approval rating in Arizona and Nevada. There is a pretty high Hispanic population in Florida, and if he improves upon his Hispanic numbers from 2016, then he'll probably improve upon his margin from 2016 as well in Florida. And so I think he'll probably win the state of Florida by a little more than 2 points this election. And Biden hasn't even really been going here that much, so there's not much drive for Biden voters to get out in Florida. And so I do think Donald Trump's going to win the state of Florida. I'm moving the state of North Carolina to tilt Republican because I thought Trump was in a much better situation in North Carolina than he actually is. It's very narrow in North Carolina. I think it's probably going to vote for him by a little more than Michigan and Arizona are going to, but it's going to be very close, much closer than I've been anticipating it's going to go for the last like couple months. And so I've moved North Carolina to tilt Republican, and I think it's probably going the same route as Virginia, which used to be a pretty solid red state, and it's turning into a blue state. And I think North Carolina is going that way. And so North Carolina is going to be a tilt Republican state in this election. I'm flipping the state of Pennsylvania to be tilt Republican because of Biden's oil comments at the last debate. I really think that killed him in Pennsylvania. And like Pennsylvania, the oil industry in Pennsylvania is one of the biggest industries. And I'm not sure how many oil people were already going to vote for Joe Biden, but I know it probably flipped a lot of undecided voters into the Trump column in Pennsylvania. I think that was one of the worst things that Biden could have done for his campaign. And I think that definitely helped him in Pennsylvania. Plus, a couple polls have showed Trump ahead in Pennsylvania that got it right last time. And so I do think Trump's going to very narrowly carry Pennsylvania by a point and a half at the most, and maybe even by less than what he got it by last time. But I do think Trump's going to win Pennsylvania again. And that is my last flip. And so my final election prediction is 296 for Donald Trump and 242 for Joe Biden. I officially had Donald Trump winning. I haven't had him winning a prediction pretty much ever during this election cycle, not since the beginning of the pandemic. But I do think Donald Trump's going to win this election very narrowly. I think he's going to do worse in the popular vote than last time, and we're going to get a very tense situation in which Donald Trump loses the Electoral College again, wins the Electoral College again, but loses the popular vote. And so that's going to bring, a lot of tension into the equation. And this is going to be a very controversial outcome, but I do think this is roughly what's going to happen. Of course, all these tilt states, I do think I could get wrong. And so all the tilt states are essentially toss-ups that I think are leaning in one direction or another. And so this is my final presidential election prediction. Thank you all for subscribing and watching along the way. And I intend to get more videos out, but this is my last video before the election. So everyone just, I guess, don't panic. It's almost over. And thank you for watching.